Manchester United nil, Real Sociedad 1. One of the most shocking penalty decisions that you will ever see. The ball strikes Lisandro Martinez's leg and it is given as a penalty. It deflects up onto the upper arm, but this, under the laws of football, is not a penalty. VAR did not intervene and Manchester United lose 1-0 on the night. A shocking decision if you've ever seen one in your life. Every football fan on the planet knows that this is as bad as Van Dijk not seeing a red card at the weekend. This is as bad as Newcastle's goal being disallowed. The opportunity to rectify it via VAR. We've seen brilliant rectifications given in the last week or so for clear fouls leading up to goals. But tonight, the ball hits the leg. For the first time in football history, a ball has hit someone's leg and been given as a penalty. Man United could not break them down. They're defending very, very well, Real Sociedad, and they deserve credit for that. But the goal is scandalous. The goal is shocking. The goal is criminal. Manchester United robbed tonight, robbed of the opportunity of winning their opening game. Had to fight an uphill battle against a very tough Real Sociedad. Let's give them credit. They performed well. They made it hard for Manchester United. There is no doubt about that. But against the run of play, really, a penalty was awarded that was nowhere near a penalty. The ball struck Lisandro Martinez's leg. The ball struck his leg and a penalty was awarded. Now, as the commentator stated, and I'm sure they stated wherever you were watching this, whether you're watching it on the UK, watching it elsewhere, the protocol is if the ball accidentally strikes the arm after ricocheting off the body from a legal move, so a tackle, you can also see Lisandro Martinez's body is turned to the side. He hasn't made his body bigger. And if you also look at the other angle, it hits the back of his arm on the sleeve line, which you can be given offside for. This is not a penalty by any standards anywhere in the world of football, governed by whether it's the FA, UEFA, FIFA, and that's all of football taken care of there. This is not a penalty. And Man United should be writing a letter of complaint to UEFA. They should be asking for a full and frank investigation because this is the biggest piece of criminal refereeing that I think I've seen in a UEFA competition in many years, because it doesn't only go against the laws of the game, it goes against the protocols, and it was reviewed by VAR. And at the same time, it was given as a penalty. And this needs to be focused on, irrespective of the performance, because this is a clear misuse of power and a clear mishandling of a very important situation. There's no doubt about it. And this needs an investigation. This needs to be looked at because Manchester United tonight they had an opportunity taken away from them from not just a bad decision, but a criminal decision, one that goes against the law of the game. That is why I'm calling it criminal. It's not a subjective decision. The ball strikes the leg first and hits the arm in an instant ricochet. It is not a penalty. Maybe if the player dives in two-footed, like he's on a crucifix, and it kind of deflects off the leg and hits the arm on the outside, the hand, and stops it going through on goal, maybe. But in this incident, absolutely zero chance that's a penalty. I want to get your thoughts and I want to get your feelings on this tonight as Man United lose 1-0 to Real Sociedad in their first game in the Europa League. And of course, a disappointing performance. There's no doubt about that. Manchester United fans will be frustrated with the level of performance, the lack of chances really created. And you saw really a lack of pace in the attack tonight, a lack of belief in the attack tonight, a poorer performance from the midfield than we've seen in recent games, and some interesting decisions we've taken off Christian Eriksen, and of course the low that played a lot of football in recent times. I think that Erik ten Hag certainly made some poor decisions in this game, and that isn't going to go, that shouldn't go unrecognized as well. But to ignore a decision like that, I think makes you less of a football fan. It truly, truly does. Because as soon as everybody saw the replay, I saw the timeline. Even rivals going, that's not a pen, really. And they laughed. Nobody can believe it's been given. There isn't a football person on planet Earth that thinks that's a penalty. Not in any way, any shape, or any form. I've even had like City and Liverpool fans DM me going, bruv, I can't believe what I've just seen. And I could not agree with you more. Terry, I was ridiculed by so many people for saying we were playing Ollie Ball 2.0. For the first time, we have played a non-counter attack ball. We fail. So you're saying that Ten Hag is the same as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's your claim there, my friend. I'd love you to delve into that more for us there, Ty. As the Justin Timberlake song goes, what goes around comes around. And listen, that's a fair way to look at things. And if that's how you look at these decisions, and you're never going to see football decisions get better, as we've stated before. But Man United at the weekend against Arsenal did not get an overtly favourable decision in their favour. The right decisions were given. And that's what troubled me this weekend. Man United's situation with Arsenal was focused on, when that wasn't the wrong decision in the game. You know, you had people focusing on the West Ham disallowed goal and not the situation of not sending off um, uh, Mikel Antonio. That was a worse decision. You had the situation with Van Dijk not given a red card for a stud high shin challenge. It's weird that we focus on it's kind of weird in the Prem this weekend. We focus on the right decisions that everyone thought should have been wrong, but instead we've ignored the glaring, obvious mistakes that have been made, and I'm not too sure why that is. Martinez, my man of the match. Ronaldo is past it, mate, is what has been said here. Big up Terry. Man United is just as terrible as Liverpool and my club Chelsea this season so far. Let's just see how the season pans out. I mean, the Man United have a little bit more of an excuse in the sense of that we're a month into our rebuild, and there was always going to be. And this is what I would say about the super chat earlier, talking about how bad the football is. Man United have got an excuse to a degree, and that's that we're a month into a rebuild. So you're going to get these ups, you're going to get these downs, you're going to get these situations where you're not quite where you want to be. Chelsea and Liverpool don't have those excuses, especially Liverpool. They are not in transition. They have had the manager there for a long period of time. They've been running the club for a long time in this way. So it's very Man United have a genuine, bona fide reason, if you want to call it that. Pricey, thank you very much for becoming an official Academy member of the Football Terrace. It means a great deal to us. It does. Let's have a look at some more of these comments. Another few super chats have come through to us here. Terry, I'm not saying he is the same. He's way better and was my manager choice, but we are playing counter-attacking football just like we did under Ollie. I understand where you're coming from, but look, Man United we didn't have too much more of the ball than them tonight. We had 15 attempts. Our problem tonight was we couldn't get our shots on target. And the ones we did get on target, Ronaldo straight offside. So the play was there. And we had a few underwhelming performances tonight. I thought Casemiro had a really poor game, if I'm being honest. I thought that Anthony looked maybe a little bit lacking a bit of match fit, lacking a little bit of belief. I wanted to see him run at some players some more. And all of our subs that came on, I mean, there was a really good opportunity created in the first moments from Bruno after his substitution, but it didn't do too much. Ironically, Lisandro Martinez came on and was very good, but he conceded one of the most criminal penalties in history. The subs didn't work. Nothing really worked tonight that Ten Hag did, and this is partly to do with him introducing a new system. It's going to take time for Manchester United to and the players to adapt to the way he wants to play, especially from an attacking point of view when teams are sitting back a little bit more against us. So I wouldn't say my point to you, Ty, is I think you're overanalyzing a transformational situation within the first month. You've got to give it time. You have to give it time to cook and come together. One of the worst penalties I've seen. The fact that VAR checked it and still gave it is shocking. Fred was horrible. He can't stay any more games for us. You know what's really interesting, and I don't like to do the whole playing Fred and McTominay off against one another, but Fred's had a really poor start to this season, whether he's come on as a sub, whether he's started games. And tonight, again, I don't think Casemiro was particularly great either. He looked really rusty, but Fred just looked really poor and sort of erratic at times on the ball. And yeah, very underwhelming performance from Fred. An opportunity for him to sort of stake a claim for the first team. Until officials get mic'd up and are subject to post-match press conferences, and not even VAR can save our game from corruption. No other explanation. My view on the penalty is this: the referee gave it, and instead of VAR saying, "I think you've made a mistake," the laws state X, the protocol states Y. I think they protected the referee by maintaining his decision. That's all that makes any sense. And Soon as I'm telling you now, I know every single person watching at home thinks, and everyone that's at the ground when they get home and watch the replays will say, it hit the leg. As soon as it hit the leg, not a penalty. I relaxed because I know the laws of the game. How can a referee managing a top flight European game not understand the rules, the laws, and even more important, the protocols within the game? The protocols are important. The protocols were not followed. Just like Philip Coutinho's offside goal where they blew the whistle, the protocol wasn't followed. The protocol states that if the ball is central and there's a goal scoring opportunity, you don't put the flag up. It's only if the ball's played into wide areas and there is not a perceived threat. But when Coutinho picks the ball up, dinks his shoulder, dribbles past one man, is opening up to shoot. Philip Coutinho, that is the definition of a goal scoring threat. So when the protocols are not followed, that's actually more disconcerting to me than a mistake being made. That would be my take on that, my friend. If I'm being absolutely honest with you. Webb here says, hold that karma. And you can throw that round, but you know it isn't going to wash with me. You know I'm not going to lose my shit over that, because when I see bad decisions against rival teams, I stand up for the decisions because I have integrity. And as much as I want my rivals to lose, I will always call out for the integrity of the game. The same as I stand shoulder to shoulder with every fan who's angry with the mistreatment of the supporters by their owners, because there are certain things within football that I'll always push for. And just as I stood up for Everton at the weekend with bad decisions that went their way, just as I stood up for Chelsea with bad decisions that went their way, just as I stood up at the weekend and will stand up for multiple weekends for teams that get screwed over by these decisions, I'll do the same thing here. So for me, it isn't about karma. It's another bad day of refereeing. It's another bad day for football. And football fans will laugh at it because it's Manchester United. But remember, every time you laugh at Man United and you allow the officials to get away with it, all you are doing is guaranteeing that you're going to have a decision come back and screw you at some time in the future. So laugh as much as you want, but you're only damaging your own football club. Seeing a lot of people come out and talk now, didn't see the same energy for games. Seems like there's a lack of energy in the team. The space was there to attack. And I agree. It did look like that tonight. And we're going to obviously get some callers out soon and see what people are saying. But remember, and I've said this after every one of these 4 wins on the bounce, slow down. Don't get carried away. You know, when Jess was trying to call me out on the show the other day, oh, you lot should be speaking with more chest. You're on this run. There are going to be lots of bad moments before it gets better. This is what happens when we are going through a legitimate transformation, stylistically, who's playing in the first team, the systems that we're using, how we're training. It's a complete overhaul. It's never going to click straight away, especially with where we have been. So Man United fans have got to remain patient. They don't be getting giddy after a couple of games. Casemiro is a Brazilian drink water. He didn't have a good game today at all, in my opinion. I agree. He was poor today, but we do know he's better than that. Hey, brother, I think Ten Hag needs to decide, play our strong side in the Premier League or use them in the Europa, because we have no depth. I think what you've got to understand as well, and I said this about the Arsenal game, and I'll say the same thing here. You haven't seen, I know that Liverpool got smashed, by the way, and so did Chelsea, but the Europa League teams rotate a lot heavier for these games. And you were seeing a lot of players tonight, as in our 2 centre-backs, as an example, Casemiro, Fred, Ronaldo, Alanga to a degree played. He started a few games, and Anthony. 80% of our team was making one of their first starts, or their first start of the season. A big group of players that haven't played together all year in this new system. So you get a lack of cohesion in that way. There's always going to be this in the early stages of rotation, because there's been no rotation up until now. But after 3 or 4 Europa League games, hopefully some League Cup games, and that rotation sets in, players will find their form. That's the one issue. And it's not a negative, it's the facts. It's the one issue with not rotating your team in those opening 5, 6 Premier League games, is that the people that have been sitting on the bench and coming on for 10 minutes here and 5 minutes there and 20 minutes there, they're not match fit and they're not match ready. We saw it with Arsenal today, even though they won, but they weren't playing a team of Sociedad's level, and they didn't get screwed by a refereeing decision. But there was a lack of cohesion at times. That's going to take time. And that's why Man United fans shouldn't be panicking. Yes, you can criticize some decisions from Ten Hag today, but these moments were always going to happen. Perhaps next time the officials on field and VAR will come from Manchester. Wigan is not Manchester. I don't know where that rumor that he's from. Do you know what can sometimes happen? Like, I've got friends that are from East London, but were born in Romford, because that's the hospital they were sent to, but they're not from Romford. Do you get what I mean? I had a friend, by the way, whose child was born in Turkey because he was on holiday and his wife went into labor he isn't from Turkey. He's not from Istanbul. That's where he went and was born. He he's from Dagenham. But on his passport, it says place of birth. It says Istanbul. But by the way, that doesn't even give him rights to claim a Turkish passport. They actually were very explicit when he was born, when his son was born there. So the fact that I don't even know if there is a hospital in Salford. There may be, there may not be. But even if he was born in Salford, that doesn't mean he's from Salford. So yeah, it's a weird one. But thank you, John C, for the comment there. By the way, if you are gloating and saying, "Ha, you deserve this," you're also confirming my view that it was the wrong decision. Arsenal fan, but I stand up for football. Bad call is what Chris Walker has got to say here. I think you have to stand up for it. If you don't, where do we go? Where do we go? And I think if we start calling these things out more regularly and fans push back against it, you'll make the referees more accountable. But it's a hard thing to do. It really is. Casemiro is a Brazilian drink water. We've had that one again, but thank you. Referee was awful, almost corrupt. Ronaldo should have scored. He was bad. Fred was awful. Casemiro had a bad day as well. Hopefully, we learn from this. I think everything you've said there is spot on. I think what we also lacked is we lacked a little bit of pacing behind. I was looking at the game thinking we really needed Rashford tonight. We needed someone that we could utilize the speed. Now, Alanga did well, but Alanga still for me is that like he did 3 times he beat the fullback in the first half. He's running in on goal, and each of his final balls were just all. It was like, why? How's the ball moved there? I didn't really get it myself, but yeah, overall, a very poor performance from the players. Most criminal penalty in history. I think you're just heated from the game. United played bad, and Sociedad could have scored more. But the reason that I say that it's the most controversial, if you want to call it that, criminal penalty in history, is a penalty was given tonight for hitting someone's leg. There isn't a law in the game that states if it hits the leg and ricochets onto the arm. And by the way, the part of the arm, like I don't even want to laugh at people here, but if you look at the part of the arm that the ball hit, and I'll get you that still shot as well. What's crazy? It's on the shirt line. Now, the fact that it's on the shirt line, that's a part of the you can be offside for that, right? You remember, like you can be offside for the ball hitting your shirt line. The shirt line is where the offside starts. So the ball's even hit a part of the body which you can play the ball with. So every single element of this penalty is criminal. So unless someone can come on here, and I did this the other day, I don't care what the referees say after the game. I mean, show me the law. And someone like I will give out 100 grand if you can show me a law that says that even if it hits the leg first or body first and then hits the shirt line of the arm, it should be a penalty. Show me that law, show me that rule, and I will give you £100,000. Not the way that the referee associations try to spin it. I don't give a damn about that. I don't give a damn about any of that because they're going to spin it to protect themselves. They always do. Every now and then they fall on their sword and bottle it. But the ball here, as you can see here, the shirt line of the arm, you can literally see it's touching his shirt. You're offside if that part of your arm is offside. So there's nothing about this that is offside. There's nothing about this that is illegal. There is nothing about this that should have been a penalty. So I stand by my view. If you want to come on and prove me wrong and show me that I'm not getting the law right, £100,000 cash I'll give you. And the reason I call people out by offering money is because you should want the money, right? But no one can come on here and actually, you can go, hey, shit, bad decision, you're in the mud. That's fine. I can take that. But people telling me it should have been a penalty, come to me with the law, bruv. The law here. You're going to get schooled. I think officials and refs need to be fined by clubs when they make mistakes. It's not fair. Clubs are fined if they speak on these mistakes. Well, I think that there is an element of that needs to happen. There's no doubt. But I'm a big advocate, by the way, of VAR. I think VAR and referees, by the way, typically get more decisions right than they get wrong. But these decisions are the unforgivable ones. So if you go to we had 2 this season I've gone in on like this. The first one was the pulling of the hair in the Chelsea Spurs game. Because that is, I get not seeing it in the moment, but as soon as you watch the replay, it's like as soon as I know what you all did when that happened. You all went, it's a red card. We all said it. How hasn't it been given? It's one of those universally agreed upon decisions. Tonight's another. Hit the leg, then hit the shirt line of the arm. None of that makes it a penalty. Was reviewed, and they still said penalty. That is not a bad subjective take. That is clearly not following the laws of the game. That is unforgivable. It's unforgivable. Let's go to one more tribute. I've got Jinky coming on in a minute. I actually thought that was Sunshine, and then I looked at the name. Very small things below, actually. Karma is a bitch, Terry. Refs in Europe aren't from Salford. Unfortunately, no VAR United on the continent. I mean, yeah, listen, and that's fine if you want to call it karma. That's entirely up to you, my friend, and I can take that. It doesn't bother me one bit, as you can tell by the tone of my voice. That's not what worries me. I'm more concerned about, because you saying karma means it's a bad decision, so I'm cool. I'm more worried about the people that are saying this is a penalty. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about their comprehension, their understanding, and capacity to actually watch football if they think that that really is a penalty. But Jinky Knows is on with me now, a Man United fan. First of all, I need to ask you, what did you make of the crazy penalty decision tonight?
Terry, first of all, I need the number for Crime Stoppers because I need to report fraud. Like, it's a ridiculous decision. There's me thinking it's a great block. Yes, it's gone on the arm, but it's clearly deflected off the leg. So I don't know what Marco De Bello, the referee, has seen in that one. And what's even worse, I don't even know what VAR have done. Is that not clear and obvious? I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the game's been decided on that, so that makes it even more disappointing. Look, United were poor. Don't get me wrong, but for a game to be decided purely on that decision, it's really, really disappointing.
No doubt. And listen, I think I've already said it in the thing. There are elements of us tonight that were not good enough. And if it's a bad tackle and you think, oh, I don't think it was, you think it is, I can kind of stomach that. But the fact we saw the replay makes it crazy. In terms of Man United's performance tonight, what did you make of it? Because it did feel a little lethargic at times. There was some real sloppy passing and play, poor finishing as well. Like, what do you think was wrong with the United players tonight?
I think there were just key situations going to the wrong players, and the players were erratic. So people like Fred, Elanga, when you needed a bit of just calmness in that final third, they were the ones who were just going crazy. It was like they were playing with a 99p ball from the corner shop. Balls just blowing up everywhere. When people were shooting, it was going way over the bar, and thinking, knee over the ball. Come on, they know this stuff. It was weird. It was weird. I wouldn't say it was lethargic at times. Was there control in midfield? No, but then when has there been control in this Man United midfield? We've been beating teams on the counter. I just don't think there was enough quality in that final third, and that really, unfortunately, is down to the likes of Elanga, likes of Ronaldo, which is bizarre, and Fred. It is what it is. But for me, I actually thought Delo coming off really sort of changed things up because Lindelof struggled at right back. Kubo even was just crossing for fun. He had all the time in the world to do it. And I just don't think that helped. That was in the benefit of hindsight, it was a poor decision from Ten Hag, because that's the only place that they beat us from.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree. I agree with that. I think what was interesting for me is a lot of the players that came, a few of the players, not a lot, quite well. You had obviously Maguire came back in, and Ronaldo came back in, and Fred came back in. Three players that obviously Ten Hag saw as highly culpable for those opening 2-game defeats,
Yeah,
and they came back in, and the level of performance dropped. Now you're absolutely right. We haven't controlled midfields, but it is hard to control a midfield when your midfielder in Fred is, as you say, just being erratic, giving the ball away. For me, needlessly too often, like needlessly giving the ball away far too regularly. It kind of it troubled me a lot, if that makes sense. It was
yeah,
almost like we didn't need to do that, and that we need to improve from there. But I do think that's why, after the game the other day, and Arsenal fans are trying to call us out. That's why I'm sitting there going, listen, I'm keeping my powder so dry, because we're going to have, I would still say there's probably between 5 to 10 more games this season that will be like this, that we'll win 3 or 4 on the bounce, we'll start looking better, and then you'll get this performance, and it'll be like, where's this come from? And that's just going to be the nature of the beast until we have another summer and another 4 or 5 players that are Ten Hag's added to this team and everything else. But the one thing that still goes wrong for us when we start underperforming, you see it spread across the whole team. Sancho came on; he's been really good for 4 games. Did almost nothing, and that's more of a concern for me than anything else. It really is. That's a proper concern for me.
I agree with your thoughts on Rashford, or just a player who can get behind it and perhaps maybe keep his nerve on the counter. And I never thought I'd be saying this after what it was like last year, but we really kind of need Martial back sooner rather than later, because him and his link-up play with Rashford is actually, it's good. It's good when they play together. So we are needing them back. And then you've got that array of players, the array of attackers. Because Anthony, I'm not going to get on his back too much. It wasn't his best game, but he's feeding his way into the team. But when you got that front three, you got Sancho. Hopefully, we can get more from Ronaldo. You've got a wide array of different attackers. So hopefully that can work in our favour in weeks to come.
Yeah, I hear that. And listen, the football's more than likely to be called off this weekend because of the passing of Queen Elizabeth. It's probably not a bad thing for some of these players. They'll be training. I understood what Anthony got thrown in for the Liverpool game and he scored, but there was nothing much from him in these performances. I kind of feel like he needs to maybe move to the bench for some games and be slowly bled in. And Casemiro, for me, is not ready to start yet. And what we need to do, I think we've done this wrong in the past, and we need to take a leaf out of Jurgen Klopp's book. Bleed these players slowly. Pep's done that with certain players. He's bled them in. Not all, Haaland straight in, but some players bled in slowly. Relieve that pressure a little bit. Just give it time. I know we're all desperate to see Casemiro start. I know we're all desperate to see Anthony in the team because of what we've paid. But this isn't about short-term gain. This is about long-term improvements, which I think are going to be key. Jinky, I really appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say on the show. And we'll chat again soon. Top, man. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut it out before we said bye. Sorry. Make sure like buttons are being smashed and that you are subscribing. If the ball touches a player, hand or arm immediately from their own head or body, this is not a Premier League game. I understand that, but it's not a penalty. It hit the shirt line, and if that part of the arm is, if you can be offside with that part of your arm where the shirt is, and we all know you can in UEFA, that means you can play the ball. So it doesn't make it's not a penalty. That both elements of the decision were wrong because it hit the shirt line and you're offside with the shirt line. It's not a penalty for me, my friend. But thank you very much for the super chat. I really do appreciate the donation. We've got I want to make sure I get the name right. Is it Cray from Big Zip Bants coming on the show now to have you say what you saying, my friend?
Man, although obviously the penalty thing happened, whatever, you got to look at it as a bigger picture. We played horrible today as a team. Like, for me, Ronaldo was just horrible. Anthony, the whole attacking line in general was just horrible. Casemiro.
Bro, try calling back. The Wi-Fi is cutting out bad. Try calling us back, my friend, and come on and have a say. And I think it's fair to do that. As we've said, there's a lot of poor performances in this Man United team tonight that need to be looked at. And as I say, if this was down to a poor subjective decision, I wouldn't even be focusing on it because I very rarely do that. The fact protocols weren't followed, I have to stand up for football. But definitely some poor performances out there from Man United players tonight, and they need game time, really, some of these individuals. Maybe it's another behind closed doors preseason that's needed, especially with this weekend's game being off. A few of these guys need something because they just look completely off the pace. But there we go. Hypocrite. Well, it's not hypocritical. It's what I always do. A hypocrite would be only doing this for Man United when that isn't the case. I've done it for Chelsea versus Spurs this season as a case in point to you, my friend. So what I'm doing is the complete opposite of hypocrisy. Completely. It's as I say, the complete opposite of hypocrisy. In my opinion, anyway. You may feel that it is hypocritical, and that's why the Football Terrier exists. But unlike most other YouTube channels, we won't block you for expressing an opinion because that would be rather weird, in my view. There we go. Terry, read the super chat. What super chat? I haven't seen no new super chats come through. People say read the super chat and then we don't see it. The ball did hit his arm as well, not just the shirt line, and made his body bigger when he lunged to block the ball. Read the UEFA law on the handball. But it hit the shirt line. That's the first place it hit. So for me, if it hits the leg first, I also don't think he made his body bigger, by the way. So again, my interpretation is this. The body isn't bigger because he's twisted his body away. That's made his body thinner. his body is thinner. If he stays square on, his body's bigger. So for me, it's hit the arm, the leg, then it's hit the shirt line first. So I don't care if it hits the shirt line, then rolls onto the arm a little bit. He's twisted his body to make it smaller. Again, Ashraf, I appreciate your interpretation, but for me, hitting his hand first, he spun his body to the side. Now, do me a favor. Now, if I'm proven wrong here, again, I'll give the money away. When is my body thicker? When I'm like bigger? When I'm like this, or when I'm like this? What's thicker? This? Measure it now. But use your fingers on the screen. Get a tape measure. When am I bigger? This way or this way? This way or this way? I've got a bit of a beer belly, right? So maybe you'll say I'm thicker when I go to the side. But he twisted to the side, so his body was smaller. It hit the leg first. Then it hit the shirt line of his arm that you can be offside with. Nothing about this, in my humble opinion, is a penalty. But I really do appreciate it. So, you know what? I'll give you some big credit though, my guy. You've gone away, you read the law. But for me, leg, shirt line, body smaller, no pen. Again, if his arm was out like this, say he twisted to the side and his arm was out. Remember Kimpembe, PSG, Man United, and it hit his leg and then hit his hand. Here, I would say a penalty 100%. But here, you're smaller than if you're facing forward. No penalty for me. No penalty at all. Josh is on the show now. What are you saying, Josh, my friend?
Yo, what up, Terry? Just wanted to say my condolences for the passing of the Queen. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. But yeah, there was definitely a lack of cohesion with the defense, the midfield, the attack, all the things that we've seen over the past 4 games. So understandable, he had to rotate. I feel like that part was the right thing to do. Perhaps maybe the personnel could have been better. It would probably have been better to have someone like Donnie in Fred's position. I'm not trying to, relaunch the Donnie van der Beek fan club or anything, but I think he might have suited that role better than Fred today. And the pen was crazy because I played basketball growing up. So when I see horrible calls in the NBA that have a replay and are overturned, it's kind of like you're teaching the kids to do the things wrong, like the incorrect way. You're not teaching them the right way. I feel like that was the textbook defense by Alessandro. Like that's exactly how you said. He made his body smaller. He even tucked his arm. So I was like, come on, ref. Like, what are we doing here?
Mate, I completely understand. And the thing is, he's allowed to lunge in like that. He's allowed to lunge in. And I get when people lunge in. If he went like a starfish and made himself big and it hits the arm, completely get why. If someone twists their body to the side, but they throw their arms out wide, they're making their body mass like bigger. But he twists in, he keeps himself tight. It hits the shirt line, which you can all see in the first contact after hitting the leg. To give that a penalty to me is absolutely criminal. And I was a comment I want to read out. And this is what's interesting. It says, you didn't lose because of the pen. You lost because you couldn't score 2 goals. If you actually listen to the whole show, I've also spoke about how poor we were, how bad we were in front of goal. The reason I'm calling out the decision is because for me, it goes against the protocols and laws of the game and what we've been stated. And, the commentators themselves said, we've been told this year, like the commentator himself said, who's neutral, UEFA have told us that this wouldn't be a penalty this year. So why have they given it? UEFA have told, we had the BT Sports commentators say, we have been told and informed this year by the referees, i.e. via UEFA's protocols, that this wouldn't be a penalty.
Wow.
That's why the commentators were confused, because they're like, we've been told this isn't a penalty. So for me, like, I'm going with that. And as I say, look, United had some moments tonight where we could have scored. There was rustiness, I think, as you pointed out. And United have to look at their own selves. They have to look at the performance and everything else surrounding it. Certainly some players that are not living up to the same standards as others at the moment. In terms of sort of Ronaldo, do you think this is just rustiness, or do you still think there's an element of him that's annoyed that he's still here?
Oh, no, it's definitely rustiness. Like, we keep forgetting he's 37. Like, you have to warm up your body more and more. Listen to Kobe, RIP, before he passed away. Like, he was, when he was playing, he was, doing the extra mile just to be fit enough to play. So our bodies change when we're over 30. Maybe a lot of these people are in their 20s, which would make sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I think he was trying tonight. You can see that he was desperate for a goal. Chris Pierce says, "What is the shirt line? It's different for all." Well, I mean, that's a really good point. But they use the shirt line because, of course, most footballers, there's not a great, like, what I mean by this is all footballers that wear a medium size shirt are give or take similar sizes. Everyone, the ones that wear large are all similar sizes. So the shirt line is the shirt line as an example. But that's, again, it doesn't matter where it is because that's the protocol that's used. They say the shirt line is where the offside starts from. And if you can be offside, if you're part of your body, your hand can't be offside because you can't play the ball with your hand. Your arm can't be offside, but your shirt line up can be. So I've said this a few times. I've seen a few handballs, by the way. I've called all of them out in the Prem and in Champions League as well, and probably the Europa, maybe Europa Champions League. I can't remember which one, but where it hits the shirt line. I've seen a ball hit here. I'm like, well, it can't be handball if it hits here and be offside with that part of your body. You know, when you see someone giving offside when they're pointing and they give them offside by the shirt line, then you must be able to control the ball with that part. And this is what annoys me about football fans and clubs. Like, why is this stuff not being challenged? Because for me, it's illogical. It makes kind of no sense in my opinion. But yeah, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for me. It's going to be an interesting one for me.
I do agree with you that we definitely miss Rashford, but we still have enough quality to win. That's how I feel. Like, it's just lack of that cohesion.
Yeah, no, it's it's there's going to be time. And do you feel like some Man United fans maybe have got a little carried away with the last 4 games? We're maybe expecting, we're gonna beat everybody now. We're kind of back. Do you feel like Man United fans have got to remain as patient as possible?
Absolutely, and we get caught up in the emotions of it. This is why we love football, going toe and toe with our rivals, and we beat some great rivals recently. So we're going to get a little carried away. It happens, but we're supposed to be fans, right? That's the whole point, to have fun with it. So, but when we come back down to earth and assess the tactics and the style of gameplay, things like that, I feel like that's the best place to be. This, let your emotions get high, then come back down to earth and assess the game rationally and be like, all right, we had a little bit of a hiccup, but overall progress, which is fantastic considering the last 18 months.
Yeah, so someone sent me for an explanation here. So it says here that the following are not usually, this is FIFA, by the way. The following will not usually be a free kick and or penalty unless they're one of the above situations. The ball touches the player's arm or hand directly from their own head, body, or foot. So usually not a free kick or penalty unless one of the maybe it's again. The following are not usually a free kick or a penalty. The ball touches a player's hand or arm directly from their own body, head, foot, or the head, body, or foot of another player in close proximity. The ball touches a player's hand or arm which is close to their body, has not made their body unnaturally bigger. If a player is falling and the ball touches their hand or arm when it is between the body and the ground, and if the goalkeeper interrupts a clear. So basically, it's saying here that if it ricochets off your own body and hits your arm, and if your arm is tucked in close, it's not a penalty. The rules are here in black and white, and that's what I mean. Like, they're the rules read out to you. Like, I'm reading them not so great with my dyslexia, but that is the rules. It literally says if it hits your body and hits your arm, it's not a pen. And especially if your hands are tucked in close. Done. Thank you very much.
Textbook. So thank you for the person sharing that, because I literally said it was textbook. That's textbook.
Yeah, I know it is, and I get it. And by the way, that was sent to me by a Liverpool fan. That was sent to me by a Liverpool fan who's like, no, this is crazy. But there we go. Listen, my friend, I appreciate you coming on the show and having your say and always supporting the terrace, Josh.
Absolutely. Can I just say one more thing as a mod? So like we have a lot of salty people who are having a lot of venom in the chat. Thankfully, we have the other mods, but like any personal attacks, let's not do that. This is the terrace, guys. Come on. Thank you, Terry.
Not a problem at all. Josh, you're a legend. Top man. Speak soon. Thank you. Next on the show, we've got Russell here. Russell, long time no speak. How you doing, mate?
Hey, Terry, what's going on, man?
I'm good. Give me your thoughts after that disappointing performance and, of course, poor result.
Well, first of all, I think there's a lot that's been said about the referee, and I think we're absolutely spot on. For me, it's not a penalty, so I'm not going to dwell on that. I think the rules are pretty clear. If it hits your body and then your hand, especially if your hands are quite close to your body like that, it's not a penalty, especially in the Premier League. So I'm not really going to dwell on that much. If you don't mind, I wanted to talk a little bit about Anthony and Sancho and basically our attacking players, because there's a lot of talk about Ronaldo. I don't know why. I mean, I know why, because he's the superstar, right? It's Cristiano Ronaldo. But how about Anthony? How about Sancho? And I'm not digging them out because, for starters, Anthony just came in, so I'm not going to really dig him out that much. but a lot was made out of Anthony after he scored the goal against Arsenal. And I said then with my friends that I didn't think he had a great game against Arsenal. I thought that the goal would do him good because if he didn't score that goal, the $100 million price tag on him was pretty heavy. Fans were going to be on him, so that's good. But I don't think he's the player that we as Man United fans are making him out to be. And the reason I say this, Terry, is because we are very quick to raise up our players just so we can bring them down. You know, we do this all the time. We hype them up so much to levels that they can't live up to, and then when they can't live up to those levels, we bring them down really hard. And I think Anthony, unless he's a system player, I think he's gonna be really frustrating for a lot of Man United fans. Really, really frustrating for a lot of Man United fans.
I get your point, right? And I do understand where you're coming from. But do you feel like after 2 games, that's a little too early to speak? And I get that you want a player coming in and you want him to be like Haaland, hit the ground running. You want him to be like Mo Salah was at Liverpool. They come in and from day one, they're pretty much sensational. But Man United have a history. Like our greatest ever attacker in the Premier League era, Cristiano Ronaldo, took years. And by the way, until he was about 22, 23. And that was after 3 or 4 years of being in Fergie's system, being coached by Fergie to really start producing week in, week out. So for me, 2 games in, I agree with you. I think he does look a little bit off the pace. And I think that, there's a standard. And although he's, how much preseason did he really get done? He's only recently back from an injury. I'm not going to be too hard on him right now. The same as Casemiro. They need a little bit of time. And remember, Man United are not playing the Ajax way. We're not doing it yet. Like, there's no way inside sort of 8 weeks of training, this Man United team with the talent that was here was going to be playing football like Ajax this quickly. So yes, he understands the instructions of Ten Hag, but the Man United team isn't playing that kind of football just yet. So I get where you're coming from. I just think we have to be more patient, and that doesn't mean we can't criticize a performance. I think he was poor today. I think he should start the next game or 2 on the bench and be introduced as a substitute. But I'm not going to start making any kind of sweeping statements. Even for existing players, I'm going to give them time under this new manager and criticize them, give them time, because far too often as Man United fans in the last 9 years, we're 2 or 3 games in, and if a player that's been bought for a lot of money isn't performing, we kill him. Equally, a player comes in, does really well in the first 2 or 3 games, and we think they're the reincarnation of Paul Scholes or Wayne Rooney, and we have to be patient this time.
Exactly, and this is the point I'm trying to make. I don't expect him to actually hit the ground running like Haaland. That's an abnormality. That's a cheat code. But my issue is, like I said before, is we have raised his level of expectation to this. Oh, see, Anthony, he's proved everyone wrong. Look at what he's doing. It's so great. And I'm looking at it like this, like, I haven't seen anything to suggest that. I'm sorry. Even at Ajax, I haven't seen anything to suggest that this is a player. Well,
sometimes I agree by talking out loud, but keep speaking. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I haven't seen anything to suggest that, and we do this all the time. If we were to do that with Anthony Martial when he came in and scored 3 goals in his first 2 games, people would think like, oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread, right? But then we see what happened with Anthony Martial, injuries and everything that coming on around it. And with the preseason thing, no one is giving Ronaldo the benefit of the doubt about preseason. He didn't get a preseason.
Mate, and that's why Josh just phoned in and said, like, he'll always be focused on because of who he is. That's going to happen. But we know he didn't get a preseason and needed it. Listen, Russell, great points being raised there, my friend. I really do appreciate it. And we'll chat again soon. A few people are saying the press conference has been cancelled. I'm not surprised. I don't know where you were all watching or what streams you were watching, but like over here, like all adverts on television have been cancelled. The thought is that over the course of this weekend, comedy shows, theaters, everything will shut down in mourning. It's going to be really interesting to see how Britain handles the Queen's passing, because I understand there's protocol. These protocols, by the way, have not been put in place for 70 years since her father, King George, died. We've just come through a pandemic and businesses have been on their ass. The economy's crazy. Electric bills, gas bills are the highest they've been. Petrol prices are the highest they've been. Depending on what they're going to shut down and the impact that has on people's businesses, I think we need to be very careful as a country. There is some talk of 10 days of like nothing. Well, if you're I'm just making it from a football point of view, you might be a local cafe whose business literally depends on the flow of football matches. to have like 2 games, maybe even 3 games if it's a Champions League team, cancelled and postponed until next year, how much is that going to impact you? And I think, and that it's not about not being respectful. I'm someone that likes a lot of traditions as well, but I think we need to be really mindful here about what the nation does. Now, the TV companies not running some adverts for an evening or two, it's not going to hurt them. These companies are run by billionaires. I don't care about them. I'm just talking about the general working people. I think we just need to think long and hard, and before any big decision. Same with the football. There's talk of it just being this weekend. There was some talk earlier today, some tweets I saw from some prominent people talking about 2 weekends worth of games. It's like in a condensed season with the World Cup coming up. Plus, it's the knock-on effect for that. Not the billionaire owners of the clubs, and not even the footballers in playing time, but the businesses and the individuals that rely on that. You know, the individuals that have probably already booked coaches and train tickets and hotels that, by the way, won't get refunded. We need to be very, very mindful of this. Although we want to have respect paid, a lot of people want to pay respect to the late Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Next on the show, Gio is here with me. What you saying, Gio?
Yo, Terry, man, just welcome to like these refs that I gotta put up with every weekend. He's a Serie A ref, and you know what's the most like disgraceful thing? Like we changed that rule last year. Like we could change rules in Serie A mid-season, and that was one of them. If it hits the body and then put one part of your body, then your arm, it's not a pen. So it's just crazy to see how these guys are still getting away with stuff. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you know what makes me laugh about it? Like, I don't like to get into this because I don't like it because it annoys me. But it's like people think our refs are the worst. I'm like, I'm not saying that they're the best. I'm not saying they're the worst. I'm saying I guarantee if people actually watch more leagues, you'd see the same types of decisions being made. You see tonight wasn't an English ref. Same types of mistakes that we see, and we see it all the time. Like what I really feel has happened tonight. I think the refs made a mistake, and I think VAR has protected him. That's what I think happened tonight, and it was disappointing to see. In terms of Man United, now obviously you've seen your team go through a rebuild, and you're getting back to your very best. Do you think Man United fans have got to keep their feet on the floor more in terms of when we're on a good run and when we have a bad game or two?
Terry, I think like the signings you did, they're quality, and I think you just got to keep faith. And if the Glazers don't invest in the summer, then keep on putting your neck on there, like you've been saying. You know, that's how we were doing with Milan fans. But to me, I mean, I see your future is bright. I think Ten Hag, just let him work his magic. Let him get the players who we get. Like I seen like a lot of people saying, "Oh, he only knows Dutch leagues." Well, let him get those players. I knew, like in a group chat that I had, I knew that Malacia was going to be a beast of a player. He's young. He's going to grow into more and more of a player. But I knew in the Liverpool game, before that Liverpool game, I said, this kid's going to the ball out. And what did he do? Just keep the faith in Ten Hag and stop chopping and changing. I don't know what's going on over there in Chelsea. but Todd Bowley, you know, I just want to tell everybody, I know this is not a Chelsea stream. I don't know why Todd Bowley did that, to be honest with you, because as a Dodger fan, we've had this guy Roberts who has won us 1 World Series, but he has cost us like 3 to 4 World Series, and he hasn't fired him just because he has that World Series on merit. So I don't know what type of thing that Todd Bowley is doing, but just keep your faith, Terry, and keep fighting the good fight against the Glazers, man. Because
always, my friend. Gio, always appreciate your support for the Terrace, my friend, and we'll chat again soon. Top man. Thank you. I've got some super chats here that I want to go to. I hope this tells Ronaldo to put his ego in his back pocket and be a sub or leave. The Europa League Wi-Fi is messing my guy up, is what OK says. What is a shirt line? It's different for all. Sorry, I already put that one up. I didn't see it. Why are you not in the studio today? So we did 2 days back to back in the studio. My daughter started school this week, so I live quite a way away from London, so I drove in for Tuesday, did the shows there, left the studio at like midnight, got home at like 3 a.m, got up first thing in the morning to take Freya to her first day of school with her mum, then literally left, went to the studio again, did a whole day, got home at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then took Freya to school again today. And Freya started off by doing half days for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I wanted to pick her up from school today because like your children starting school is really important. So that's why I wasn't in the studio today. So yeah, some time with the kids. I think it wasn't a penalty, by the way, is what Chris has got to say. Fair enough, my friend. I appreciate that. Giovanni here says UEFA also said they'll be softer on tackles. Karma. Martinez gave away another penalty at the end, stepping on Cho's ankle and ripping his boot off. Swings and roundabouts. Fair enough if that's what you think. Lol, it's been 43 minutes and still talking about the refereeing decisions. Well, Trent, the reason that is because people in the comments keep talking about it, and good content creators respond to what the audience is saying. If you stream for hours and don't talk to your audience, you're a terrible streamer. When you do like bigger group chats, there's a little bit more of that. But when you're doing these types of one-on-one streams, it's all about what you guys say. If you guys want to stay on one subject, I'll stay on it until you guys are bored. How do I know when you're bored? You can tell by the chat changing. Follow what your audience want all the time, my friend. Taxpayers are paying for the Queen's funeral as well. Totally agree. Listen, do you know what's funny about like the people that say, oh, we pay tax for the Queen? I've been asking for this for years. I've not been able to find it anywhere. I want a report done on how much money the crown, forget the Queen as an individual, the crown gets from taxpayers, but how much they generate for us in terms of the economy. Because I'd be very, very intrigued to find out how much. It'd be a great debate. You know, I'm somebody that's kind of like, I'm like half a royalist. I'm someone that like knows that they've done that historically this country, my country, have done terrible things, and there's, you know, even as recently as the Prince Andrew stuff, I'm not happy with the way certain things are done. But there's another part of me that kind of looks at them as they're like a public service in the sense of people care, if that makes sense. And you hear people all the time say, get rid of the monarchy. And I'm like, I kind of get that. But every one of my friends from America and every one of my friends from Canada growing up, when they came to England, they wanted to go and see Buckingham Palace. They wanted to go to the Tower of London. They wanted to see the Crown Jewels and all these things. And economically, that's worth a lot of money, not just to like the government and everything else, but it's the businesses off the back of it. If you got rid of all of that and wiped it away, I would agree to it if it wouldn't impact us financially. Because the reason I talk about the money side of it is because it's the money being taken away that impacts what group of people do I care about more than anybody else? The working class. And if the working class are damaged, I don't want it to happen. So yeah, like, I'm someone that sort of like, I get the argument, but I don't really like the argument on a moral standing. I like to look at it from a financial standpoint. If they make if essentially they take away more money than they make us, get rid of them. If they make us more money than we give them, then find a happy medium. That is what I would say to that, my friend. Like, that's just my take on anything, you know. I'm willing to pay you, by the way, Franklin, as much money as you want to earn. I would, if KJ comes to me tomorrow and says, Terry, I want to pay £1 million a year, I'll grant him that money. But he's got to make me more than that back. He's got to make me enough to be able to warrant earning that amount of money, right? That's the way it works. So yeah, that's the way I look at all these types of things. But yeah, anyway, we digress. We digress on these conversations sometimes. But there we go. And of course, it's a fair point. Do you know the problem we have nowadays? You can't have fair conversations. No one wants to. Someone tweeted something earlier, and I nearly asked them, what do they mean by that? And I was like, no, that's a dangerous question. Because then what you get is, oh, you stupid and ignorant, and you don't know what they mean by it. I'm like, I can assume, I can garnish an opinion based on what I'm interpreting, but I could be wrong. Like I always say this to people about me, you never ask me what I mean when I make a statement. You just interpret it your way and go, Terry said this. It's not what I meant. Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah, and then ask fucking questions, you moron. Like, that's how life is. If you say something, my first question was, what do you mean by that? Go into more detail. Explain it to me. Make it make sense. And if you can do that, that's one of the reasons why, like, I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. I don't agree with a lot of his opinions, and I don't listen to a lot of it, like a lot of his guests or their opinions. But you know why I like listening to it? Because generally speaking, it's a civil conversation for 3 hours. And even if they're disagreeing, it's done in a way where they're not attacking each other's personality. And there's other podcasts out there that I like it as well, I assume. But I sometimes used to watch Piers Morgan's Good Morning shows. And some of the debates were funny. But half the time it was like, why do you have to be rude to them? And equally, why are they rude back to you? Because it becomes a slanging match and not a conversation. That's what I care about. Anyway, we move back to the football. Weren't robbed, penalty, just showed a bad performance, is what has been said here by Tywin Lannister. Thank you very much for your opinion there, my friend. Legendary VAR official awarding the penalty. Next on the show, I'm going to go to CFC OGs, a Chelsea fan, on to have his say. What's on your mind, my friend?
Yes, Terry. How you doing, man? What are you saying? You're not
I'm
all
good.
good.
I'm good.
How
I'm good,
though? You're in
bro.
the mud with us.
Yeah,
We're both bottom of Group E.
I know, mate. It's terrible.
Oh,
And do you know what the worst bit about the Europa League is? If you come second, you go into a playoff against a team coming out of the Champions League. So it's an extra bloody game. Like that's more of that's more of a concern to me than going out the damn thing. But yeah,
well, it'll probably be us the way we're going, to be honest, man. Hopefully we sneak by on second place, but oh man, it's not a good feeling at Chelsea. I mean, some people are gassed about Harry Potter going to work his magic, but I mean, I see the next 5, 6 games so important because they're so diverse for us. We've got, big team, small team. We've got a Champions League as well. The EFL around the corner against Man City. I can imagine him winning the majority of those games and everyone will jump on that ship. But losing, I don't know, Champions League against Salzburg or losing to Man City, which is most likely, will just sink his ship. But you guys did get robbed. However, at best you would have got a draw. Does that not disappoint you in itself?
Yeah, I mean, listen, our performance wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. But the thing is, if you didn't watch my Arsenal post-match show, this might sound like an excuse, but I said it on there that I think the Europa League team just sometimes rotate more, and there's a little bit more like rustiness in the terms of the players that are in the team. And I felt that tonight. I felt if we'd have picked the same team that beat Arsenal at the weekend, I think we'd have been okay. But we rotated 4, 5, 6 players getting their first starts, first game in a while. And there was a rustiness to it. And there was also a nervousness. I felt like with Maguire at times, Fred definitely, there was almost this like, I've got to impress. I've really got to impress. I want to get back in the first team.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what Ten Hag's going to say, but if I was sitting down with them, I'd be like, listen, you just got to relax and play your football. Like you didn't even need, there was a couple of passes Fred made that nearly put them in the first half. And it was like, calm down. So listen, it was a poor performance tonight. And I would say this Man United fans have got to brace themselves for more of these as this team learns, as it transitions, and as we move forward, because most clubs that have gone through what we've been through don't just go back to being brilliant in a month. It's almost impossible, in my opinion.
I hope we do, man. Me and you both, man. We really need it, man. Today is just the last couple of days. Honestly, I just been in shock, man.
No, listen, I completely agree. I get where you're coming from, and I think that that it's one of those things to me where look, Chelsea are now moving in a new direction, new ownership, new manager. That this is legitimately the start of a I don't know if the word is rebuild, but a transition, definitely. How quickly does the manager adapt? How long do the owners give him if he isn't working? And the Chelsea fans have now got to sit back and just be patient for a little while because you don't know the way it's going, and it's a weird one. If it was a player that was similar to Tuchel, similar style, similar personality, one more, it probably wouldn't feel like a transition. But the fact you're going for a manager that's never been at this level, never had a squad like this, never kicked the ball in the Champions League, never had a budget like this, never had this much level of scrutiny on him, and that will be a big shock to his system the first time he loses a game and he suddenly realizes I'm trending everywhere. And there's content being made about me. It's going to be a crazy one.
And he's English, so he's definitely has to do a lot of like press conference, extra talking. I feel like the foreigners get away with playing with their words and just making it shorter than it is. And obviously, no English-born person has won it since '92 before he's even called the Premier League. So
it will work both ways.
Everything.
It will work both ways with his nationality. So he'll get a lot of praise from certain media outlets when he's doing well. But what that will do is certain people, you can find this out, by the way. Certain people that have never mentioned his nationality, if he doesn't get enough, say he loses 2 games and doesn't get enough criticism, some people will come for him harder because he is English. And he's going to have to learn to deal with this now. He's now gone from being a manager at a club everybody likes. Now, hello, little Brighton. Now he's at he's now at a football club that millions of people in this country despise. So the way people view him is going to change, and they'll go for anything they can from his play of style, his experience, the way he looking like Lee Gunner, his immutables, whatever it may be. They're going to come for it. Listen, OG, really appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say again. Top man, thank you. I want to focus on this comment here. I really want to do it. It says the monarchy helps the working class. What a joke! Again, see, people never look at the economics deep enough. Let me give you an example. I used to manage the bank account of a guy. I'm not going to give you his name. And he saved, he worked very hard in his life and he ended up getting some money. And he started buying franchises of Snappy Snaps. And people visiting, he targeted areas where people visited rural locations. That's where he wanted them. And that's what made him his money. My point is this was a working class man who did good for himself. If suddenly everything was wiped out and there was no attraction to the monarchy anymore because they were gone, his businesses, he anticipated. I remember him telling me this. He said he reckons he'd have a 65 to 70% reduction in business. So let's just say that's one business, right? Let's just say that one business loses that amount of money and income. Them going impacts the working class. I'm not saying they are like they're in the morning, they wake up and go, right, what can we do for the working class today? It's not about the personal decisions of these individuals, but it's about the way these things work economically. That is all I'm talking about. And do you know one of the biggest things that damages the working classes and the minorities and the underprivileged is economic disparity. So my point, if you go back to what I actually said, instead of trying to nitpick a certain point and make it sound and twist my words and try and say something I didn't, is I have no issue with the monarchy going, but we need to do a full thematic review on the economic benefits versus how much it costs. And if they make us substantially more money than they cost us, then it would be wrong to get rid of them, because if you take that economic impact away, who's going to suffer? It's not going to be rich people. It's going to be the working classes at some level, whether they know it directly or not. So my friend, please don't try and twist my words, because all that's going to happen is you're going to end up embarrassing your father for not pulling out. Like he's going to be like, oh, son, I could have pulled out on you. Why have you done that live on the terrace again, my friend? Relax. I will stick to football, but I get sick and tired of people chatting absolute nonsense. They don't understand it. It's crazy. Next on the show, Mo's here. Mo's a Man United fan. What are you saying, Mo?
Big up to you. How's it going, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. A bit of a weird, somber day in the
UK.
very very, very weird. And for normal people, anyway, there are some absolute melts out there. But everyone likes a bit of attention, don't they? Do you know what I mean? But what did you make of Man United tonight?
It was a poor game. No intensity. It was a bit boring. Just was an idea. I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna top the group. We'll definitely top the group because we've got too many world class players in this team, and the teams that are in our group, Terry, are not that strong anyway. So we should top the group comfortably. I hope those words don't come back and bite me. But I'm gonna use one of your analogies, Terry. Harry Maguire, Fred, and Lindelof. You know what they are? They're like boxers that have been hit too many times in the head, Terry. Do you know those boxers? You know the
punch drunk.
Yeah, Terry. We used this. I remember a couple of years ago me speaking to you about this with Chris. I think it was Chris Smalling and all that. Harry Maguire, Fred, and Lindelof have taken too many blows to the head, Terry, and it's got to the point where you shouldn't be playing them. Like they literally, when I was watching them play, it's like a boxer taking too many blows to the head. There's no confidence. There's no desire. The hunger's gone long time ago. And you're playing them, and it's not Erik ten Hag's fault, but I think on a personal level and on a football level, Terry, they know it, we know it. They're done at the football club. Harry Maguire must know he's done at that football club.
Yeah.
For him, he needs to start moving away from the football club. As for and also Terry, Cristiano, Terry, I think we're getting to that stage, man. Like we really need to have that debate where, boy, he looked his age today. Like literally, you can compare him to Messi, but like he literally looked his age.
He did. Do you know what he reminded me of because of his age? Because he had I know he trained and he's still in shape and he's still got a six pack, but because he didn't do that preseason,
yeah,
I think his body's he's suffering for it. He's really suffering.
The preseason, Terry, yeah, he should just gone to preseason and just played the games to get match fit. I don't know why he stayed out. Well, they said it was family problems, so we can't speculate. You know, we don't know. But Terry, he's not match. I don't think he's match fit, Terry. He doesn't look. That's why he's coming on 20, 30 minutes. I saw the game today, Terry, and he looked his age. Slow, rusty.
Mate, I agree. He did, and I hope that because he's staying, I hope he can sort of win that out of himself, but it could be an uphill battle. It really could. Mo, I appreciate you coming on, my friend, and having your say. Top man. Thank you. Lewis here says, tell every Man United loss you have a top heavy amount of United fans on the show to comfort each other. My friend, the links in the live comment section. Phone the fuck in then. I respect you, but the link's shared. It isn't my fault if rivals decide not to phone in. Bro, come on now. Relax. Right now, there's like 12 people backstage, and I've put a Chelsea fan on. I've put a Milan fan on. You know, I've had no Liverpool fans come backstage as of yet. You know, it's just crazy. Like, phone in then, my brother. Phone in. You do it. You be the rival to come on and say something. Like, we're the only YouTube channel that allows anyone to phone in. And we still get criticized, not even enough. Like, no one else does what we do. No one. You phone in. You pick up not the phone, but like calling. Click the link in it, brother. Come on and you do it. Indiana's here with me now. Another Man United fan. What are you saying, Indiana?
Can you hear me, Terry?
Yes, bro.
Do you know what's mad? Like, people are always crying about Man United, and we're the ones who lost tonight. I don't get it. It makes no sense. But in terms of the football, listen, new manager, new season, same old thing. Midfield is a problem, a huge problem. I don't want to see Fred in the 6, and I don't want to see Fred in the 10. Like, I'll be honest with you, I rarely want to see Fred, but putting him in the 10 was just crazy. And I get the whole. I was speaking to Neeks about this during the game, and I get the whole idea of getting minutes in players' legs. But when there's a player who needs replacing, I mean, and I understand that Ericsson, you know, maybe it was 50-50 with Bruno at halftime, but Fred was the guy who needed to come off there. I think I would have kept Ericsson on for another 20 minutes, especially with us not playing football, you know, for the next 4 weeks, whatever it may be. I don't know how much they knew about that at the time, but it is what it is. I understand game management. Anthony, for me, needs to sharpen up, just simplify his game a lot. That left back was all over him, but just simplify it. Let the ball do the work. Ronaldo, for me, was just... Listen, I think it's going to be tough for us to play with Ronaldo anyway, with a balanced midfield. But when it's that messy, I just think it's not going to work out for him. We created some chances, but his touch was off. He hasn't got that burst of pace. That's gone. And again, simplify your game. Let the ball do the work. Alanga had an all right first half, but then he really dropped off. And I think there's a limit to his ability. I'm not sure why Dalot came off and Lindelof went over. Martinez was quality. He was our best player for me when he came on in the second half. But it's just that balance still in midfield. I don't think Casemiro had a great game. I don't think he was incredible. He didn't put up any trees either. It's that balance in midfield, and our second string is nowhere near our first team. That intensity wasn't there either today.
No, I completely and utterly agree, mate. And I think that that's why United fans have got to calm down when things start going well. I had a comment that came through here from Sarah that says he's right, though, about Louis' comment, Terry. The tone is different when United lose. It depends on when United lose, because the tone wasn't different when Man United were losing in the latter stage of Oli. It wasn't different when we were losing those games in sort of the mid to late term of Ragnick. These were, in some respects, very toxic streams where people were angry and screaming. The reason why there's a different tone right now for losses is because everyone's got patience again, because the new manager and the new system and everything else has been implemented. It's different from Chelsea losing at the weekend with 18 months into a Champions League winning manager. It's different to Liverpool start feeling at the start of the season after 7 years with the same system and the same manager and a world-class squad. So, of course, the feeling is going to be different because you can't take away the context of a club's current situation. Arsenal fans losing a game right now, they're not reacting like they did a year ago, 18 months ago, to losses because the situation's changed. So, of course, the feeling's different. And Sarah, like, that for me is an obvious thing. And if Man United, by the way, keep losing, say United lose the next 6 games, that 4th or 5th or 6th defeat will be a very different feel to tonight. But
there's bigger questions. There's bigger questions there.
Yeah,
like we also have to remember, Terry, this is a squad that, a side that haven't really played together, especially under Ten Hag. I was just surprised by a couple of, like, I would have played McTominay tonight, and I would have played him because he's been in form, right? So you play a player who's in form that can pick you back up. The penalty decision was madness, by the way. That was just nuts. I don't know. We've had these debates about VAR before, Terry, and I don't like it. I hate it being in the game. I think it's still human error. Now all it does is protect the referee. That's all it's there for. Keep goal line technology. Get rid of VAR. I don't like it. I don't want to see it anymore.
Mate,
but I'm not going to blame them. I'm not going to blame the ref for the loss. The manager and the squad for the loss. The referee for the penalty. I'm not going to blame. I
get you on that, India. Listen, bro, I really appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. I really, really do.
Man.
I appreciate it. I know there's loads more callers backstage. We are at the end of the show now. I am absolutely exhausted. The last 3 days have killed me. We're back tomorrow with more content. We'll keep updated with what's going on with the Premier League games. They're very unlikely to go ahead this weekend. I don't see them calling off the Champions League games. I don't know how they can make. They can't. It's just not going to be able to do that to that many countries and nations and their leagues and everything else. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like maybe they will, maybe they won't. Everybody that's tuned in today, thank you. Please make sure you smash the like button before you leave and you subscribe. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Thank you.